Get out! Get out! Get.
Have you ever seen someone smile right before everything goes wrong? It's 9:42 p.m., a quiet stretch of road just outside the city. No traffic, no noise, just the low hum of tires against asphalt. And then, suddenly, flashing red and blue lights slicing through the darkness. Officer Daniel Mercer, 42, sits behind the wheel of his patrol car, eyes locked on the vehicle ahead. A simple stop, broken taillight. That's it. Routine, predictable, something he's done 1,000 times without thinking. So why does this one feel different? The car pulls over slowly, too smoothly. No hesitation, no confusion, just compliance. Mercer steps out, adjusting his vest, his posture confident, controlled. This is his world, his rules. As he approaches the driver's side, his body cam quietly recording everything, something feels off. And then he sees her. Elena Cruz, 29. Hands on the wheel, back straight, eyes forward. Not nervous, not annoyed, not even curious. Calm. Too calm. Let me ask you something. If you were pulled over by police, how would you act? Nervous? Defensive? Maybe even apologetic? Elena? She just waits. Mercer taps lightly on the window. She rolls it down, without a word. License and registration. Standard. Simple. But instead of reaching immediately, Elena turns her head slowly and looks him directly in the eyes. And then she says something that makes Mercer pause. "Officer, are you sure you want to do this?" Not aggressive, not threatening, just certain. That's the moment everything shifts. Mercer frowns, brushing it off like attitude. He's seen this before. People trying to act smart, trying to throw him off. It doesn't work on him, or at least it never has. Elena hands over her documents, perfectly valid. Everything checks out at first glance. No warrants, no alerts. So why does the tension keep building? The silence stretches, uncomfortable now. Mercer scans the inside of the car, and that's when he notices it. A small black case sitting on the passenger seat, locked. No labels, no markings, just sitting there, like it's waiting to be noticed. "What's in the case?" he asks. Elena doesn't answer immediately. Just a slight pause. Then, "You don't want to open that." Now, ask yourself, what kind of person says that during a routine traffic stop? Mercer's instincts kick in, suspicion rising, control tightening. He radios in quietly. Backup is 10 minutes out. But Mercer doesn't wait, because in his mind, he's already made up his decision. He reaches for the car door handle, and Elena says, softly but firmly, "If you open that door, officer, everything changes." Mercer hesitates, just for a second. Then he pulls the handle. The moment he opened that door, he stopped following procedure and started following instinct. The door swings open, just like that. No warrant, no backup, no real probable cause, at least not one that would hold up under pressure. But in Mercer's mind, this already feels justified. Control, that's what matters now. "Step out of the vehicle," he says, his tone firmer than before. And here's the strange part. Elena doesn't argue. No hesitation, no resistance. She unbuckles her seatbelt, steps out slowly, and stands by the roadside like she's done this before, like she expected this. Is that normal? Because right now, it doesn't feel normal at all. The air between them tightens. Passing headlights flicker across their faces, but neither of them breaks eye contact. Mercer studies her. No shaking hands, no darting eyes, just calm. That calm is starting to irritate him. "What's in the case?" he asks again, sharper this time. Elena exhales lightly, glancing toward the passenger seat before looking back at him. something that doesn't belong to you or this stop. That answer hits like a challenge, and Mercer takes it personally. "Do you mind if I take a look?" he asks, but it's not really a question anymore. Elena's response is immediate. "Yes, I do." Polite, firm, final. Now, pause for a second. What would you do if you were Mercer? Let it go? Write the ticket and walk away? Or push further? Because Mercer pushes. His voice tightens. His posture shifts. "I'm going to need you to cooperate." "I am cooperating, just not consenting." That line lands hard. Not consenting. She knows exactly what she's saying, and Mercer knows exactly what it means. For a brief moment, there's a crossroads, a chance to de-escalate, to step back. But instead, Mercer doubles down. He radios in, his voice controlled but tense, stating suspicious behavior as justification. It sounds official, clean, but underneath it, it's thin, very thin. Still, he moves forward, because now, backing off would feel like losing. Mercer walks past Elena, opens the passenger door, and grabs the black case. It's heavier than it looks. He places it on the hood of his patrol car, the metal surface reflecting the flashing lights in sharp, jagged bursts. Elena watches him the entire time, and for the first time, something changes. A crack in her composure. "Officer," she says quietly. He doesn't look at her. "Please don't." That word, please, hangs in the air. Not fear, not panic, something worse. Urgency. And now you feel it too, don't you? Whatever's in this case, it's not just important, it's dangerous. Mercer ignores her. Of course he does, because at this point, he's convinced himself he's right. He reaches down, finds the latch, and with a slow, deliberate motion, he starts to open it. The second that case opened, everything Mercer thought he understood collapsed. Click. The latch snaps open, louder than it should be in the quiet night. Mercer lifts the lid slowly, his flashlight cutting into the darkness inside. And then he freezes. Not because he finds something illegal, but because he doesn't understand what he's looking at. Inside the case are several encrypted hard drives, neatly secured in foam padding. No labels, no consumer branding, just cold industrial hardware. Next to them, documents, official-looking, stamped, signed, and sitting on top of everything, a badge. But not his kind of badge, not local, not state, something else, something federal. Mercer's grip tightens slightly as he picks up one of the documents. His eyes scan quickly, then again, slower this time. His expression shifts, confusion first, then tension, then something dangerously close to doubt. Behind him, Elena steps forward, but not too close. "This is your last chance to stop," she says, her voice no longer calm, but controlled in a different way. Firm, certain. But Mercer doesn't stop, because now he's committed, and backing out, that would mean admitting he made a mistake. So instead, he does what many people do in that moment. He doubles down. "What is this?" he demands, holding up the document. "Something you were never supposed to see," Elena replies. That's it. That's the line that pushes everything over the edge. Mercer's tone hardens immediately. "Step back," he snaps, "right now." Elena doesn't move. Now the situation escalates fast. Mercer grabs his radio, voice sharp, controlled, but urgent. "I need backup. Possible impersonation. I repeat, possible federal impersonation." Let that sink in. He just reported her. Now ask yourself, what happens if he's wrong? Because Elena doesn't react with fear, she reacts with certainty. "You just made this worse," she says quietly. Mercer ignores her again, pacing slightly now, adrenaline starting to spike. The road no longer feels quiet, it feels charged. Then, sirens, closer this time, backup arriving. 2 patrol cars pull up,
Officers stepping out quickly, reading the tension immediately. "What's going on?" one of them asks. Mercer doesn't hesitate. She's carrying federal credentials that don't check out. Now the spotlight is fully on Elena. But here's the twist. She doesn't defend herself, not immediately. Instead, she looks directly at Mercer and says something that shifts the entire energy of the scene. "You didn't just cross a line, you destroyed it." A pause. "You destroyed it." Before Mercer can respond, headlights appear in the distance, not flashing, not loud, just approaching. A black SUV glides to a stop behind the patrol cars. No markings, no sirens. The door opens. A man steps out. Suit, calm posture, no rush. Agent Marcus Hale, 51. He walks forward like he already owns the situation. No introductions, no hesitation. Just one command. Step away from the vehicle, now. Everything goes still, even Mercer. But here's the problem. He doesn't move right away, and in that hesitation, everything changes again. In less than 30 seconds, Mercer went from being in control of the situation to realizing he might have just destroyed his entire career. The silence is immediate, heavy, unavoidable. Agent Marcus Hale, 51, doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't repeat himself. He just stands there, eyes locked on Mercer, waiting. That kind of silence, it's not uncertainty, it's authority, and everyone feels it. The backup officers glance at each other, already stepping back slightly, instinctively recognizing something Mercer hasn't fully accepted yet. This situation is no longer his. "Step away from the vehicle," Hale says again, calm but sharper this time. Mercer finally moves, just a step, but it's enough to show hesitation, and Hale notices. That's the moment the balance shifts completely. Hale walks past him without another word and looks directly into the open case. His expression doesn't change, but something in his posture tightens. Careful, controlled, like someone assessing damage. Behind him, Elena stands still, arms relaxed at her sides, but her eyes never leave the case. "Was it opened?" Hale asks, short, direct. Elena answers, "Yes." No hesitation, no emotion, just fact. Now Hale turns, slowly, back toward Mercer, and this is where everything begins to unravel. "On what grounds did you search this vehicle?" Hale asks. Simple question, but it lands like a punch. Mercer opens his mouth to respond, but nothing comes out immediately. Think about that. A man who's done this job for years, suddenly struggling to explain one decision. "I had suspicious behavior," Mercer says, finally, his voice no longer steady. Hale doesn't react, doesn't argue, doesn't even blink. "Define suspicious," he replies. Now Mercer's mind is racing, because for the first time tonight, he's not in control of the narrative. He tries again. "She was evasive, uncooperative." From the side, one of the backup officers shifts slightly, because even they know that's not enough, not even close. And now the weight of reality starts pressing in. Body cam footage, radio logs, witnesses, everything recorded, everything reviewable, everything permanent. Elena finally speaks again, her voice cutting clean through the tension. "You had no probable cause." Each word lands with precision. "You forced a search." Another step closer. "You accessed restricted materials." Now Mercer can't even meet her eyes. "And you compromised an active investigation." That's it. That's the moment it hits him fully. Not just a mistake, not just a bad call, a chain reaction. Hale pulls out his phone and makes a call, brief, quiet, controlled. No details shared. He doesn't need to. When he hangs up, he looks back at Mercer one last time. "Your supervisor is on the way." A pause, long enough to let that sink in. Then Hale adds, almost casually, "And Internal Affairs has already been notified." The words don't echo, they settle, heavy, final. Mercer stands there completely still now as the flashing lights reflect off the open case, the one decision he can't undo. And as the distant sound of another vehicle approaches, one thing becomes painfully clear. This isn't just about to get worse, it's about to become permanent. Sometimes, it's not the big decisions that ruin you, it's the small one you refuse to walk away from. The flashing lights are still there, but everything else has changed. The road that once felt routine now feels like a scene frozen in judgment. No shouting, no chaos, just quiet, controlled consequences unfolding in real time. A black sedan pulls up, not fast, not dramatic, final. Out steps Mercer's supervisor, Lieutenant Aaron Briggs, 55, followed closely by two internal affairs officers. No one wastes time, no one asks unnecessary questions, because they already know. Agent Hale hands over a brief summary, calm, precise, efficient. Elena stands nearby, silent again, but this time there's weight behind her stillness. Now everything is out in the open. Here's what actually happened. Elena Cruz wasn't just a civilian. She was a federal cybersecurity contractor embedded in an active investigation targeting a sophisticated international cybercrime network. The hard drives inside that case, critical evidence, encrypted data tied to multiple suspects across jurisdictions, data that required strict chain of custody protection to remain admissible in court. And Mercer, he violated that chain. No probable cause, no warrant, no legal justification strong enough to hold. By opening that case, he didn't just bend the rules, he broke them in a way that could jeopardize months, maybe years of work. Mercer doesn't argue anymore. He doesn't defend himself. He just stands there, listening as the reality is laid out piece by piece. You can see it in his face, the exact moment it all sinks in. The regret, the replay of every second leading up to that choice. Elena finally looks at him, not angry, not satisfied, just disappointed. "You gave me a chance to walk away," she says quietly, "and somehow that hurts more than anything."